Hello everybody, welcome back. Omega Given here. So today we are going to move on to lesson 1 of Python. If you didn't watch my lesson 0, go watch my lesson 0. It basically explains how to set up Python scripts and run those Python scripts via command prompt. I think that is a very important lesson because a lot of people skip to the IDE, which is interactive development environment, and they forget how a computer actually runs Python. And so that's why I say go watch lesson 0. But we're going to use the IDE today. So I'm going to be using PyCharm for most of my tutorials. You can use different IDEs. There's like Windows, Microsoft Studio, or whatever, Visual Code. I don't know, and there's like a few other ones. I like to use PyCharm just because I learned that in college. That's the one I use in college mainly. So we're gonna open up PyCharm. I have it installed, but the website for PyCharm, you can just look up PyCharm. That's PyCharm. And then it's by JetBrains, I guess. That's the company. I think this company also does some other IDEs, interactive development environments, for like Java and some other stuff. And I think you can use most of the other ones, and they still include Python in them. But PyCharm is specifically for Python. So you can go to this website, download it from here, and yeah. So we have a, let's go to File, New Project, and we're just going to do Python Project 1. You can see that there's this virtual environment. So what this is right here is basically what version of Python are you using. So in my lesson 0, I kind of showed you that you'd have to download Python on your computer if it's not already on there. And this basically makes it so you have to point to that location of the Python executable that was installed on your computer. Oftentimes, if it's in default location, it will be able to select your default Python, which it did for me. So we can just do that. We can create this window. I don't know, new window, whichever works. It'll create your environment, and from here we can be able to begin coding. So my second part of today's tutorial is variables. So you can see this sets up a bunch of different stuff. We don't need to worry about this stuff. This is just basic Python scripting kind of stuff. So this, like when you create full-on Python projects, you might want to start using these kind of like ways, like right here, if name equals main, print, whatever. But we're going to exit all this. We don't need all that. We're going to close all that down. We don't need it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over variables and types of data that can go to variables. So what is the first type of data I think that's easy for people to understand, which is strings and numbers of sorts. So string, what denotes a string in Python? Quotes. So you need the double quotes. Or you could do single quotes, or you could do triple quotes, triple double quotes. I mean, so 3 double quotes back to back like that. That is 3 ways you can create strings. Technically, there's like this triple quote is like a doc string, and I don't really know if there's like a specific example of what these ones technically are. If you actually look at this, it probably has like, yeah, to convert doc string to triple double quote string form. There's different like methods you can use, or there's different like I guess coding conventions, aka how to have good grammar in Python. We're gonna cover basics. You can figure out the grammar stuff along the way as you read other people's code and you code yourself and you find ways that you like the code. So how do we put these strings, which strings can contain letters, they can contain numbers, and they can contain symbols, but there are special symbols like backslash. 2 backslashes is a special symbol. We'll show that really quick. So let's do string 1 equals that. And you can see how this turned orange in the IDE, the interactive development environment. Basically, IDE is just like a syntax or a grammar checker for coding. Very helpful in that way. Rather than using Notepad to do a Word document, use IDE to do a script, like a coding script. All right, and then let's do string 2 and equals this, and then let's spell it right, maybe. It doesn't matter about spelling really, but yeah, string 3 equals those. So we got 3 different variables now. So this is now assigned to string 1. So we can now use string 1. So we can print string 1, and then if we run this, it will print. So there we go, print. You can see that there's a 1 backslash, not 2, even though we have 2 in here. This is one of those special symbols where when there's 2, it kind of, it's like a, what would you call it? It's a formatting thing where the first backslash will say that the second backslash is a special character. So that could mean some kind of formatting character. We'll do that in another video. We're not going to do that in this video, but it's a special symbol to help formatting. So if I have double backslashes, it says, oh, since this is a backslash and this is a backslash, print just the one backslash, because that we're just trying to print the backslash. But if you do a backslash and something else, it could do something way different. But yeah, we're gonna cover that in another lesson. All right, string 2, this can also be letters, numbers, and symbols. And then string 3 can be letters, numbers, and symbols. But one thing more you can do with a docstring, or actually no, it's not one thing more. Actually, you can do it with all of them. This thing can span across multiple lines in a script. I believe these can actually do the same thing. Well, maybe. You can see it kind of has like a backslash. Let's try this. Let's try this. I haven't really tried this in IDE what it looks like. So let's print string 2 really quick. What does string 2 look like? It looks like string 2 just prints the first. No, it prints all of it. It prints all of it. So this is just a formatting thing, I believe. I've never actually seen this happen before. So I don't know. You learn something new every day. They got something like that can, make it so you can have multiple lines. If we just did print string 3, it'll print the whole thing with the spacing. So basically a docstring will include the I guess new lines, because you can see these are new lines, aka enter on the keyboard, enter. But this one, if I did like an enter on the keyboard, it does this, and this just appends this to this. When I say append, it means links on to the end of. Append is a link on. Concatenate is smash together, or like put together. Those are words I'm going to be using. But yeah, so those are ways of doing strings. Okay, we want to keep this video under 10 minutes, so we're going to go over numbers now. So we've got strings. Actually, you can do stuff with strings. So let's say string 1 plus string 2. What does this do? Let's run it and see what happens. What it happens is you see it has blah, 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 numbers symbol, and then numbers, numbers, numbers. So it literally just concatenates or appends it to the end. That's basically what the plus, when you plus strings together. Let's try the docstring though. Let's do string 3, because sometimes people might wonder what this happens. So let's run this, and it does the same thing, except for this, since this docstring has enters, it kind of puts the enters in there as well. So yeah, it all does the same thing there, which is kind of nice. All right, a little quick thing, when you're coding in Python, you want to make notes. You can do it in a few different ways. One is a number sign. Number sign means this is a comment. And then you can do docstrings, actually. You can just do this is a comment. You can use docstrings just by themselves as notes to yourself and stuff like that. Technically, if it's not assigned to a variable, it then won't really be used. So it just denotes it, like it just puts it out there and just keeps going with the script. It doesn't do anything else. So you can use both of these as comments. But on an IDE, it depends on the hotkeys, but the hotkey for at least PyCharm is Control / that direction, and that will turn that into a comment, because we want to comment that out so we can not have it run in our little thing down below here, because we're gonna be doing some other stuff. All right, let's do numbers. Okay, we can have numbers, right? We got a number 10, and then we got 10.01. And then I guess those are the two ones we'll go over. So numbers in Python, or in most of the programming languages, have different formats. You have integers, and you have doubles, and you have floats. Depending, I can't remember the exact definition of double versus float, but it's something that you're going to have to probably just look up yourself. I can't remember in the middle of this video and whatever. It doesn't matter too much. So we have integers. So this is number 1 equals 10, and we have number 2 equals 10. So an integer is basically a whole number. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 onward, and -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 onward. And then floats, we're going to be using floats today, is decimals. So if it has a decimal like this, it's a float. So how can we check what a type of a variable is, like what the variable type is? Like this we say 10, but how do we know it's 10? Because sometimes you need to check what a variable is. So this function, type, type with parentheses, and you put it into parentheses, number 1. This will tell us what type this variable is, what this 10 is. And we can print this to a screen. So print, print, let's put this in the print statement. So we can print that, and we will see it is a int, meaning integer. So 10 is an integer. What is 2? Let's try that. So let's run this. 2, number 2 is a float. So 0.01 is a float. What happens if you do number or what type would it be if you do number 1 plus number 2? Think about it for a second. If you have an integer plus a floating number, so like a whole number plus a decimal number, what would output? It would output a decimal number, meaning a float. So yes, we have a float. And then if we want to just print the type, or like what the outcome would be, we could just copy this over, put this right here, just see what it is. It is 20.0000999. Interesting. So this is a little interesting thing to see here. What we can see here that's going on. Let me pull this out and put it right there really quick. What we can see that's going on here is even though this is 0.01, it doesn't have 0.01. It's rounding because of a formatting, like just how you convert a float to a number is doing some weird stuff. I've actually never seen it do something like this. Normally it's pretty accurate, but apparently it's not being accurate today. I don't know. This is actually a very interesting thing here. Let's just do 0.1. I want to see what happens here. There we go. That's a whole number. That's weird that it did a... Let's try this again. Is it... Yeah, it's going to be repeating doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. That's very interesting today. I don't know. But if I do 2, it's fine. If I do 3, it's 3. I don't know. I think my computer is being wacky today. I've never seen that happen before, but I guess this is where mutable data comes in. So in Python, variables can be mutable, meaning they can change. This lesson's already getting a little bit long, but let's close it out with mutability or changing data. If I have number 1 can be 10, but can also very easily convert to a float. So if I do number 1 equal, which is right now a integer, or we can do plus equals actually. That makes it so it does number 1 plus 10. It's basically this, like, or equals. But if I do like this is what plus equals do. This is the normal thing. If I do plus equals, I don't have to put number 1 because it's just like you take the original plus it to something else. Plus 10.03. So if we do that and then we do what is the type of number 1, we'll print that really quick. Type of number 1. We can run this real quick, and it's a float. So even though it was at first assigned as an integer, it then changed to a float when I added a float to it, a decimal number, a floating point number. I guess that's what I think float comes from. But yeah, so that's what mutable means. We can also change this to a string by doing, actually, we'll probably cover this in our lesson. But yeah, that's basically basic stuff is strings and numbers. Those are some of the very most basic things and what you can do with them with variables. And of course, that's also how you use IDE. We'll cover that in today's lesson. If you like this video, like and subscribe. We're going to put this onto a playlist so you can have these all back to back and have short-ish content for your lessons. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.